For the last 344 years, our beloved Earth has been cursed by a scourge or beast known as Pennsylvanians. Politically, they're flip-flops, they shoot up supermarkets for cartoon ghost girls, and sometimes they claim that their mother raped them, only to downplay these claims when they didn't get the reaction they wanted. What's up guys, this is Mr. Asian Pie. Today we're talking about What If Autist. WhatIfAltHist, also known as Rudyard Lynch, prophet of Odin, and most recently, Rudyard the Raped, is a self-proclaimed socialite who makes a decent salary off of videos about the Neo-Ottoman Empire and gets tons of bitches. In reality, Rudyard was a former alternate history YouTuber, thus the name, who switched his content over to demography and eventually the American deep state's infiltration of the spirit realm. His longest lasting impressions on others has been his egocentrism in the bad autistic way and the neglect of his own audience, to the point that his own unofficial official Discord server, which he's been a member of since 2022, has considered switching their loyalties to either Zoomer Historian or the fucking server admin. Rudyard's content never really was something to write home about. The visuals were essentially PowerPoints, but unlike other YouTubers who did this style of content, you couldn't just listen to them, because he loves adding in literal walls of text of details he left out of the recording. His videos were seemingly unscripted, as no matter what subject he was talking about, he always seemed to revert back to the same talking points. 90% of his ideas and predictions can be traced back to either Peter Zayan or Peter Turchin. Sometimes, if you're lucky, he might even quote Oswald Spengler. And if you're really lucky, you'll get a rant about how he's not like the other red pill chugging, soylent, suckling, destiny cuckling, unheckin' wholesome 100 chuds. He's way worse. He's a tech bro socialite. With such shit video quality, you might ask, who the hell would find the patience to sit down and listen to this literal political slop? Me. I watched Rudyard. I liked it. I was good at it. Rudyard was also a live streamer, but I can't quite comment on the quality of those since no one fucking watched them. Except for one, the Vaush debate. Back in May of 2022, Rudyard decided to debate Vaush. Why? Ego. The debate was also unmoderated, painfully so. Rudyard treated the debate like it was one of his videos, trying to go on a rant about why the leftist ideology is dumb. Vaush kept interrupting Rudyard, mostly in the form of asking him for sources, before moving on to a different topic. This went on for 50 minutes. With the parts of the internet that is aware of this debate, it's generally agreed upon that Vaush won, but considering that this is a fight between Odin's strongest warrior and Mr. Hans the Lolly Enjoyer, you're probably better off watching 50 minutes of TV static. Rudyard would later amend this disaster to an extent with a segment on Destiny's stream that was generally well received. Man, I hope Rudyard doesn't declare war on him, then call for a debate against Nick Fuentes and a rematch against Vaush. But that's not why you're here. Recently, Rudyard released a trilogy of videos that is essentially his own biography, covering every facet of his life, from his proud ancestry, to his schizoid abusive mom, to his childhood depression, to his neo-pagan spiritual awakening. Late into video 2, he claims that the videos are scripted, but I personally doubt that his map-based sexual innuendos that he used to woo the hoes was a necessary detail. Also, these videos are all over the fucking place. One moment he's talking about the width of the Delaware River, next he's talking about the quality of Egyptian leather, and he's brought up and explained Mouse Utopia twice in the same video. And don't you dare forget that he gets bitches, especially in video 2, where he talks about how much pussy he gets, including his mom's. Yeah, so the largest crux of these videos that has been stirring the attention has been that Rudyard claims that, and I have to be clear about this, claims that his mother sexually abused him and his sister. The reason why I state that these are claims is because the only proof he has are entirely anecdotal. Rudyard himself, being a Pennsylvania flip-flop, has at least walked back on the framing of these 3 videos when he got backlash on Zitter, but still claims that the rapes happened. Now, I do believe that Rudyard to some extent experienced something that mentally fucked him pretty badly, as one of the few consistencies throughout the trilogies of Woe Is Me is that Rudyard has some sort of trauma of something. Here's the big catch though. This is obviously a very serious subject. These videos were not the way you go about opening up. I'm not even exaggerating when this was the line of topics building up to how I got molested.
Hey, so I'm not the most reliable narrator. When I was a little chud, mommy touched me inappropriately. Anyways, here's how being molested makes me a literal mystic.
Now, of course, it's always great to see a victim of child abuse grow up and find ways to overcome the trauma of their upbringing. Unfortunately, Rudyard is within the other half of abuse survivors who use incredibly unhealthy coping mechanisms to get over the pain. His main utility of escape being drug abuse, and clearly using drugs is not fucking helping. Rudyard mentally does not sound like a healthy person, partially because he isn't. He claims to be baked out of his mind most of the time using marijuana-adjacent products, even when making videos. But don't fret, they're not addictive. Anyone who unironically says the substances they abuse are not as addictive as lab professionals paint it out to be is not a mentally sound person. And don't even get me started on physically. Dude has the Celtic equivalent of the Rich Evans physiognomy paired with the Rapeson phenotype. I know you live in Texas where it's hot as fuck on a nice day, but going outside once in a blue moon ain't gonna kill you. Of course the drug abuse is terrible, but Rudyard makes it incredibly hard to sympathize with him, partially due to the fact that he sounds way too far gone, but mostly due to his insufferable star child ego. What do I mean by that? Rudyard genuinely believes that he's one of the great men of history, a real special star. His ego was always present in his videos, with him bringing up about how well connected he is, and him telling stories of people asking him questions as if he was a fucking guru. But in his normal videos, his ego stroking ultimately amounts to a tangent that at most lasts a couple minutes. These 3 videos are nothing but ego stroking. Not only does he see himself as a great man of history, Rudyard sees himself as the great communicator between our world and Agartha. Actual Chris Chan level shit. Now, at least in the case of Chris Chan, this was a result of nature. Fun fact, don't inseminate a woman in her 40s. Also don't inseminate a schizo woman while suffering from chronic mercury poisoning. Though, I believe a lot of Rudyard's ego comes from his environment as some form of coping mechanism to deal with his allegedly screwed up childhood, which is why I believe at bare minimum Rudyard had a rough upbringing. An example to back up my claim is that Rudyard claims to have made a deal with what he described to be God, and what I can only describe to be the ghost of rapes yet to come. Because apparently, Rudyard was shown a vision of the great man he would grow up to be, a fat retard on the internet with a 99-page Kiwi Farms thread. And apparently that was enough to convince little Chuddy not to kill himself and endure being molested by his mom. Some real Lady of Fatima type shit entirely localized in Rudyard's head. Rudyard also had a Joseph Smith moment as God instructed him to move to the American Eden of Los Angeles, California. And just as Tacoma wept when Vosh left for the American Sodom, so did the Foundry as their great prophet left for the Promised Land to discuss the future of our great civilization with the former associate of Jake Paul. Truly, this man is the Spangler of our generation. Rudyard has apparently also met the devil, several times in fact, as if that wasn't already evident. But don't worry, our tech bro socialite isn't just exclusive to the Abrahamic spirits. Rudyard has also met the Norse god Odin, who told him to
Write down every girl you masturbated to.
And he fucking did it! This list is out there somewhere. I need this list. This is literally the rape list written by the founder of the incel revolution. I need to know who's on the rape list. You? The way Rudyard describes Odin is literally just the role the angel Gabriel plays in the Bible. So why didn't he just meet the angel Gabriel? I have no idea. Maybe my skull hasn't been bashed in enough by Rudyard's mom to understand. Or maybe I'm just projecting my schizophrenia and autism onto Rudyard, as I myself am a product of industrial civilization. As you can tell, we're dealing with a real medium, truly the last of the great prophets, only rivaled by the Pope and the Caliphate. But don't worry, Rudyard is a soyjack of all trades, master of all. Not only is Rudyard's Odin's strongest warrior, but he's also the anti-Marx, vanguard of the right wing. Which part? All of it. Rudyard claims that if the right fails, that means he is dead, as if in the entirety of global right-wing politics collapses and dies as if it was a single unitary movement, it is because he is dead. No, Rudyard, if the right fails, it's because you took charge. Dude, reality check. All of the social clubs you've been involved in have collapsed and died within months of their founding. Your unofficial official Discord server that you have not engaged with in almost 3 years is doing better than your social clubs. Besides, for someone who spoke to God and the devil, Odin's strongest warrior,
The intellectual equivalent of an assault rifle.
the founder of the incel revolution, Rudyard seems to falter at the mildest road bumps in his online career. In video 2, Rudyard, on a tangent of a tangent, talks about his YouTube career and complains that despite the fact he is at his largest in online notoriety and physical size, he believes that his videos are being blacklisted and being shadow banned by YouTube. Never heard of that one before. Now, it is true that YouTube does shadow ban certain content creators and suppresses certain videos from entering the trending tab to reach wider audiences, regardless of views. But is this phenomenon something that struck our great crusader of Western civilization? No. Rudyard claims to be shadow banned by the algorithm, his proof being the growth curves on his video's views. Of course, he doesn't show any proof of this. He just says that his viewership numbers curve prematurely, meaning that he must be shadow banned. This is despite the fact that with the exception of his podcast that he posted on the main channel, most of his videos on the lower end reach a viewer to subscriber ratio of slightly above 1/3, and on the higher end it's over 1-to-1 in favor of viewership. These are not the signs of a suppressed channel. According to Rudy's numbers on Social Blade, Rudyard is actually overperforming since his view count has actually continued to climb while his subscriber count has stagnated, even if by only barely noticeable margins. This is especially commendable considering that for the latter half of 2023 and for the first quarter of 2024, Rudyard kept disappointing his audience with the lack of the CIA Spirit Realm video. If there was a real reason that Rudy would experience a decline in viewership, which before the trilogy he wasn't, it would be because his content is shit. Rudyard's current saving grace is that the algorithm currently prefers longer content, though especially now with both HistoryTube and DemographyTube becoming saturated with much better and more insightful creators such as Kaisersbach, the fact that Rudyard hasn't fallen off from the face of the platform is a bit of a blessing for him from the algorithm. Now, I sit at a crossroads. Do I take the Mr. Z route and wish the best for Rudy the Raped, or do I take the Ubersoy route and kick him while he's down?
I can look at the porn girl and figure out her mental state. I can sense the collapse of America. I can feel you. I'm the intellectual equivalent of an assault rifle. Write down every girl you masturbated Odin doesn't mess with Yahweh. You're projecting your schizophrenia and autism. I'm here showing you how beautiful message. You know, you guys can go fuck yourself, right? You know, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, no, let's kick him while he's down. Also, Rudy, if you want to improve in the algorithm, upload more. Your content's quality is barely above YouTube commentary slop, if even that. Anyways, see y'all in 3 months. This has been Mr. Asian Pie. See you on the flip, and don't be stupid.